If you have around $1,000 to $1,200 a month, is Romania actually a place worth living in? Not as a short vacation, not as a stop for a few photos before moving on, but as a place to stay, to live through ordinary mornings, unplanned evenings, and months that don't require you to rush. Romania isn't famous like France. It doesn't carry the glamorous image or iconic symbols people usually associate with Europe. And it isn't shockingly cheap, like many countries in Southeast Asia, where a few $100s can already buy a comfortable life. Here, everything exists in between East and West, between old and new, between just enough and more than enough. But here's the strange part. More and more foreigners don't just pass through Romania. They arrive out of curiosity and stay because of the rhythm of life. They aren't held by flashy attractions, but by things that are hard to name: a coffee break, where no one is rushing, old streets that don't need to be reinvented, and the feeling that life here doesn't demand you become someone else. Romania doesn't try to impress you. It doesn't advertise itself. It doesn't promise a perfect dream. But those who truly understand the rhythm of this place understand why it's slower, why it isn't perfect, often don't rush to leave. Who is Romania on the map of Europe? Romania sits at a quiet crossroads where Central Europe, Eastern Europe, and the Balkans meet. It shares borders with Hungary, Serbia, Bulgaria, Ukraine, and Moldova, and opens itself to the world through a narrow coastline along the Black Sea. This single fact already explains much of Romania's character. It has always been a place people passed through, influenced, reshaped, but never fully absorbed. Romania is not quite Western Europe, and it is not purely Eastern Europe either. It doesn't move with the same polished rhythm as Paris or Vienna, but it also doesn't carry the uniform heaviness often associated with the East. Instead, Romania lives in between culturally, historically, and emotionally. This in-between state is not a weakness, it is its identity. At the heart of that identity is language. Romania speaks a Latin-rooted language surrounded almost entirely by Slavic tongues. It is a linguistic island in its own region, a reminder that its roots trace back to the Roman Empire. Yet layers of history sit on top of that foundation. Ottoman rule, Austro-Hungarian administration, decades under Soviet influence, each leaving behind architecture habits and social instincts. You can feel this mix everywhere, in churches and city squares, in food, in gestures, in how people relate to authority and family. Romania doesn't erase its past to look modern, and it doesn't freeze itself in nostalgia either. Romania is Europe, but it is Europe before everything was standardized, simplified, and made to look the same. Nature, what Europe has lost. There is something few people realize when they think about Romania. It is not just a European country, but one of the very few places where nature has not been completely broken apart. While much of Europe has turned forests into resorts, mountains into cable car routes, and valleys into urban developments, Romania has managed to preserve vast stretches of land where humans remain only a small presence. The Carpathian Mountains run from the north down through the heart of the country, quiet, unadvertised, yet deep and powerful. Ancient forests, towering rock faces, winding mountain paths. Here, brown bears, wolves, and lynxes are not symbols in nature books. They still exist, living within an ecosystem that much of modern Europe has already lost. To the east, the Danube River completes its long journey before merging into the Black Sea, forming the Danube Delta, one of the largest and most biologically diverse wetland regions in Europe. Interlacing waterways, migrating birds filling the skies, small boats drifting across still waters. In this place, time seems to slow just enough for you to hear the wind, the water, and your own thoughts. The contrast is subtle but important. While most of Europe has been urbanized, divided by highways, industrial zones, and satellite cities, Romania has retained large continuous natural landscapes, not untouched in a perfect sense, but intact enough that nature is not treated as a backdrop. And from this foundation, Romania steps into the modern world in its own way. How modern is Romania? Romania is often viewed through an outdated lens as a poor, slow, and underdeveloped Eastern European country. But that image no longer reflects today's reality. In several key areas, Romania has moved far beyond the stereotypes that outsiders still tend to attach to it. First, there is connectivity. Romania's fixed broadband internet is frequently ranked among the faster tiers in Europe across multiple international measurements. This isn't a technological brag, it's one of the main reasons many remote workers choose to stay here. You can run online meetings, manage businesses, or work with international clients without ever feeling like you're operating from Europe's edge. In major cities such as Bucharest and Cluj-Napoca, a different Romania emerges. These cities are growing centers for startups, IT outsourcing, and knowledge-based services. Co-working spaces, cafes filled with laptops, and conversations about products, global markets, and international opportunities are now part of everyday life. Alongside locals, a visible remote worker community has taken shape. People who come not just to visit, but to live and work long-term. Economically, Romania has reached an approximate GDP per capita (PPP) of around $40,000 per year, varying by year. This places the country well above the bottom tier in Europe. Yet the rest of the story matters just as much. Actual incomes remain significantly lower than in Western Europe, and this gap creates a quiet paradox. The cost of living in Romania is still relatively manageable for foreigners. Romania is not poor. But it is not yet wealthy either. It stands in the middle of a transformation modern enough to connect with the world, yet not expensive enough to lose its cost advantage. And it is precisely this in-between state that makes Romania a compelling option for those seeking a modern European life with room to breathe. Real life, wages, rhythm. Rhythm and the divide. To understand Romania, you can't rely only on beautiful scenery or growth statistics. You have to look at real daily life where wages, pace of living, and social gaps exist side by side. Romania doesn't hide these contrasts. They are visible, lived, and felt every day. Average wages across the Romanian economy currently sit around 8,000 to 9,000 lei per month before tax. On paper, that figure may seem reasonable within the region. But once taxes and mandatory contributions are deducted, take-home income becomes significantly lower. This reality shapes how people live, spend, and make choices in Romania. From this emerges two Romanias running in parallel. In major cities, you'll recognize a familiar European rhythm. Cafes filled from morning to evening, laptops on tables, conversations about startups, real estate stocks, and international work opportunities. For this group, Romania is a place to move forward, a stepping stone toward global integration. But drive just an hour outside the city, and another Romania appears. Here, life still leans heavily on self-sufficiency. Woodworking, small-scale farming, backyard gardens. Chickens and traditional trades remain central to daily survival. There is less cash, a slower pace, and stronger human connections. This divide creates a quiet misunderstanding. Many assume Romania is cheap because things are low quality. The truth is more complex. Lower living costs are not the result of lower value, but of lower domestic incomes. Housing, food, and services still carry real worth. They are simply priced according to what local people can afford. And once you see Romania through this lens, it becomes clear why life here can feel manageable for foreigners, while for locals, every financial decision still carries real weight. Architecture, the soul of Romania. If there is one place where you can see history without opening a book, it is in Romania's architecture. Here, eras are not erased to make room for the new. Instead, they layer on top of one another, leaving traces you can walk through every day. Romania carries medieval Gothic churches with sharp spires and thick stone walls, echoes of a time when cities were protected by faith and fortress alike. Interwoven among them are Byzantine Orthodox churches, crowned with rounded domes and shadowed interiors where light lingers just long enough to create a sense of stillness and reverence. By the 19th century, Romania began searching for its own architectural voice. The Neo-Romanian style emerged, drawing from local folk traditions: long wooden porches, carved columns, airy balconies, red-tiled roofs. It did not copy the West. It selected and adapted, shaping a language of its own. Alongside it came Art Nouveau and Beaux-Arts, appearing in boulevards, public buildings, and villas, carrying hints of Paris and Vienna, while remaining rooted in Romanian identity. The 20th century added another layer: Soviet-era apartment blocks, large, concrete, and utilitarian. Not beautiful in the classical sense, but inseparable from Romania's lived history homes, where generations grew up, worked, and endured. What sets Romania apart is that it does not erase the old to build the new. Historic buildings are repurposed into cafes, galleries, and boutique hotels. Churches remain churches. Old apartments remain lived-in spaces with laundry on balconies and flowers in the windows. Romania is still Europe. But it is a Europe that hasn't been copy-pasted, where every street carries the fingerprints of time, and architecture is not just something to admire, but something that tells a story. People and family. Core values. To understand Romania, you can't look only at architecture or cost of living. You have to look at people, and especially at how family continues to sit at the center of social life. Here, religion, tradition, and family bonds are not outdated ideas. They remain foundations that quietly shape everyday life. Romanian women grow up within this value system. They are independent, employed, and have their own voices while still maintaining strong ties to their families. Caring for parents, staying connected to relatives, and taking part in traditional gatherings are not seen as obligations, but as a natural part of life. In recent years, the average age of marriage for women in Romania has moved toward the late 20s, reflecting social change, more education, longer careers before settling down. Yet while timing has shifted, the meaning of marriage has not diminished. In Romania, marriage is not just a bond between two individuals. It is a connection between two families, two generations, and two sets of values. Respect, responsibility, and long-term commitment often carry more weight than romantic promises alone. And it is this balance that gives Romanian society its depth, modern in form, yet firmly rooted in tradition. Cost of living. Is Romania really easy to live in? In the end, the most practical question remains: is life in Romania actually easy to breathe financially? The answer lies in how costs are structured here, not shockingly cheap, but low enough that monthly expenses don't feel suffocating. When it comes to housing in major cities like Bucharest or Cluj-Napoca, a one-bedroom apartment in the city center typically ranges from $350 to $600 per month, depending on location and amenities. If you're willing to live in the suburbs or smaller cities, prices can drop noticeably often without a major sacrifice in quality of life. Public transportation is another strong advantage. Buses, trams, and metro lines cover most urban areas, are affordable and reliable enough for everyday use. For many residents, not needing a car significantly reduces monthly expenses. As for food, Romania makes it relatively easy to stay within budget. Local markets offer fresh vegetables, meat, dairy, and bread at reasonable prices, and cooking at home is common. Eating out isn't prohibitively expensive, but it's the combination of market shopping and home cooking that keeps living costs manageable. Romania may not be the cheapest place you can live, but for what it offers space, history, rhythm of life, and stability, it remains one of the few parts of Europe still within reach. Places to live and feel. If Romania isn't a single destination, it is a collection of different rhythms, and each place offers a distinct feeling. Choosing where to live in Romania isn't just about selecting a city, it's about choosing a way of life. Bucharest is where contradictions collide. A large, noisy, sometimes chaotic city where wide Parisian-style boulevards run alongside Soviet-era apartment blocks. History here doesn't sit inside museums. It unfolds on the streets, layered, unresolved, but full of energy. Bucharest suits those who need opportunity work and a faster pace. Leave the capital and head toward Brașov and Transylvania, and the atmosphere changes immediately. Historic towns nestled against the Carpathian mountains. Gothic churches, small squares, and cobblestone streets. Here, history and nature coexist, creating a balanced rhythm, slow enough to feel yet connected to modern life. Sibiu offers a different mood altogether. Calm, refined, and quietly deep. It isn't large, but it is well-kept, peaceful, and highly livable. Red rooftops, intimate squares, and thoughtful cafes. Sibiu is for those who value stability over stimulation. And if you look toward the sea, the Black Sea coast with places like Constanța and Mamaia may surprise you. Less crowded, less flashy, and more tranquil than expected is the sea, the breeze, and afternoons that feel unhurried. Here, Romania gives you space enough to breathe, enough to pause. The downsides and trade-offs. Romania is not a perfect story, and ignoring its downsides means you never truly understand the country. Life in Romania always comes with trade-offs, especially if you plan to stay long-term rather than just pass through. First, there is income. If you work for the local market, salaries are generally much lower than in Western Europe. This isn't a major issue for those earning from abroad, but for people relying solely on domestic jobs. Financial pressure is very real. Rural infrastructure is another factor to consider. Despite the wide-open nature and peaceful scenery, many countryside areas still lack strong healthcare access, transportation, and modern services. Living there requires flexibility and acceptance of a much slower pace. Bureaucracy and paperwork remain part of daily life. Administrative processes can be time-consuming, involve multiple steps, and sometimes lack clarity. Patience isn't optional, it's essential. When it comes to climate, Romanian winters can be long, cold, and gray. Short daylight hours and limited sunshine can affect your mood if you're not accustomed to Eastern European winters. Finally, there's language. English is commonly spoken in major cities, but the farther you move from urban centers, the less reliable it becomes. Learning basic Romanian isn't just practical, it's often the key to being truly welcomed. Romania offers a great deal, but it asks you to accept its limitations in return. Chapter 10. Is Romania the right place for you? In the end, the most important question isn't how beautiful Romania is, how affordable it can be, or how modern it feels. The real question is, what are you actually looking for in your life? Because Romania doesn't try to fit everyone, and it doesn't need to. Romania is not for those who need everything to run smoothly on time and by strict Western European standards. It's also not for people chasing fast wealth, rapid career climbs, or measuring life by speed and constant achievement. If you need perfection, Romania may exhaust you. But Romania is for those who want to live in Europe without being crushed by costs. It suits remote workers, people earning income from abroad who want a place that's calm enough to live, yet connected enough to work. And above all, Romania is for those who value rhythm space and depth over constant motion. Romania doesn't ask how much money you make. It asks only one thing: do you want to live faster or live deeper? Like this video if you appreciate perspectives that aren't sugar-coated. Comment below. Would you consider Romania and subscribe for more slow-told, honest, and emotionally grounded journeys ahead?